The Village Renaissance, How Community Values Will Disrupt Our Hyper Individualistic World. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here tonight. I want to start by acknowledging the profound impact that my recent conversation with Charlotte Mitchell has had on my thinking, and I believe will have on yours too. For those who don't know Charlotte Mitchell, she isn't just another thought leader. She is a revolutionary force, reshaping how we conceptualize community empowerment and economic self determination in Black communities. Her groundbreaking Let's Cry framework, lead, educate, teach, strive, create, restore, yearn, has become more than a theoretical model. It's a living blueprint for meaningful change that honors our traditions while boldly stepping into the future. Charlotte doesn't just talk about transformation, she embodies it, creating ripples of change that have already touched thousands of lives across the country. What struck me most about Charlotte wasn't just her brilliant mind, but her ability to articulate a truth we've long felt but struggled to name, that the path forward for our communities lies not in abandoning our traditional values for modern individualism, but in revitalizing those communal strengths within today's context. Tonight, I want to share with you the profound insights from our conversation because I believe they hold the key to a transformation that extends far beyond any single community. Here's the counterintuitive truth that emerged from my conversation with Charlotte. In an age obsessed with individual achievement and personal branding, our greatest source of power may actually be our collective identity and mutual support. The very values that many have dismissed as outdated, the it takes a village mentality, might be precisely what we need to thrive in the modern economy. Let me explain. We've been told a story about success in America. It goes something like this: work hard, pull yourself up by your bootstraps, compete fiercely, stand out from the crowd. The individual's the hero of this narrative, and community ties are often portrayed as weights that might hold you back. But what if this story is fundamentally flawed? What if the emphasis on hyper individualism is not just culturally destructive, but economically inefficient? The data from Charlotte's research tells a different story. Black entrepreneurs are creating businesses at remarkable rates, 9% year over year growth, despite facing significant structural barriers. This isn't happening because these entrepreneurs are superhuman individuals working in isolation. It's happening because they're tapping into something powerful: community powered entrepreneurship. Consider what Charlotte calls the Moonlight Ventures movement. In 2024, when employers began demanding returns to physical offices, Black professionals faced disproportionate pressure. Many had found that remote work reduced workplace microaggressions and increased their productivity. Rather than simply accepting these limitations, something remarkable happened. 35% of new Black owned ventures became what Charlotte calls moonlight ventures, businesses built during non traditional hours while maintaining stable employment. These entrepreneurs embraced a dual path approach that balanced financial stability with business growth. What's fascinating about this movement isn't just its practical ingenuity, it's that it represents a fundamental rejection of the false choice between individual security and community advancement. These entrepreneurs aren't just building businesses, they're creating a new model of entrepreneurship that makes business ownership accessible to those who cannot afford to leave stable employment. This is the strive and create elements of Charlotte's framework in action, not accepting limitations, but finding innovative paths forward. But the story gets even more interesting. In May 2025, a new platform emerged specifically tailored for Black entrepreneurs seeking to understand the global labor ecosystem through a community focused lens. This platform didn't emerge from a venture capital firm or a tech giant. It was born from a collaboration between Black data scientists and community organizers who recognized a critical gap in available market intelligence. For generations, Black business owners lacked the access to comprehensive labor market data that reflected their specific community needs and opportunities. The platform changed that by aggregating and analyzing global labor market data with particular attention to factors affecting Black communities and businesses. The result? Entrepreneurs can now make data driven decisions that align with both business goals and community impact. Dozens of Black owned businesses have already optimized their hiring practices and identified untapped market opportunities. This exemplifies the educate and lead components of Charlotte's framework. It shows how information access can empower community focused decision making. But more importantly, it demonstrates something profound. When faced with systemic barriers, these entrepreneurs didn't just accept limited resources, they created new tools. The most compelling evidence for Charlotte's vision comes from what she calls the 30% growth phenomenon. Despite limited access to capital, higher loan rejection rates, and systemic barriers to market entry, Black owned businesses have experienced growth exceeding 30% over the past decade. This growth significantly outpaces overall business formation rates. And it's happening not because these entrepreneurs have somehow transcended the need for community, but because they've leaned into it. They've leveraged community support, alternative funding sources, and strategic partnerships to overcome traditional barriers. The impact extends far beyond individual success stories. These businesses are creating jobs within Black communities where unemployment rates remain significantly higher, 6.3% compared to the national 4.2%. They're revitalizing neighborhoods, they're building generational wealth. This is what Charlotte means when she talks about moving beyond individual success to community transformation. Black enterprise represents more than business transactions. It embodies a movement toward economic self determination in communities that have historically been marginalized. What's particularly striking about Charlotte's research is how it reveals the power of diversification. Black business owners now operate across virtually every sector, from technology to creative industries. This diversification strengthens the overall economic fabric while providing essential services to previously underserved communities. Now, I can almost hear the skeptics. This sounds nice, they might say, but isn't this just about one specific community? How does this apply more broadly? That's a fair question. But I believe the implications of Charlotte's work extend far beyond any single community. The fundamental insight that we've undervalued collective strength in our pursuit of individual achievement has universal relevance. Think about it. We're living in an age of unprecedented connectivity, yet rates of loneliness and isolation have reached epidemic levels. We have more ways to communicate than ever before, yet meaningful connection seems increasingly elusive. We celebrate individual achievement while community bonds fray. What if the path forward isn't about choosing between tradition and innovation, but about bringing them together in powerful new ways? Charlotte's L.E.T.S framework offers a blueprint for doing exactly that. Lead, not just yourself, but others alongside you. Educate, share knowledge freely rather than hoarding it as competitive advantage. Teach, mentor the next generation to ensure sustainable progress. Strive, push beyond complacency toward meaningful change. Create, build new models rather than simply fitting into existing ones. Restore, revitalize traditional values that foster community well being. Yearn, maintain a hunger for both personal and collective advancement. This framework challenges us to reimagine success not as a zero sum game where individual winners stand atop a pyramid, but as a collaborative effort that lifts entire communities. The evidence from Charlotte's research suggests this approach isn't just morally appealing, it's practically effective. When we combine traditional values of mutual support with modern tools and opportunities, remarkable things happen. Consider this striking question that Charlotte posed during our interview. If our ancestors built thriving communities with far fewer resources and opportunities than we have today, what might be possible if we reclaimed that it takes a village mentality and combined it with our modern advantages? The question stopped me in my tracks because it reveals something profound about our current moment. We have unprecedented resources, technology, and opportunities. What we often lack is the social infrastructure, the community bonds, the mutual support systems, the collective identity that could help us leverage those advantages for broader benefit. This isn't just about economic outcomes, though those are significant. It's about creating a society where success isn't measured solely by individual achievement, but by collective well being, where we recognize that true freedom isn't just about personal choice, but about building communities where everyone can thrive. As Charlotte so eloquently put it, in the soft girl era, we understand that softness isn't weakness. It's the recognition that our strength comes not just from within ourselves, but from our connections to others. A soft Black woman is dangerous to underestimate precisely because she doesn't stand alone. I believe we stand at a crossroads. We can continue down the path of hyper individualism, celebrating personal brands while community bonds deteriorate, or we can pioneer a new way forward, one that honors traditional values of mutual support while embracing innovation and progress. I want to leave you with this challenge. What if everything you've been taught about success is backward? What if your greatest competitive advantage isn't your individual brilliance, but your capacity to build and nurture community? What if the next great disruption isn't technological at all, but social, a fundamental reimagining of how we relate to one another? The data is clear, the stories are compelling, the path forward is illuminated by visionaries like Charlotte Mitchell. The question is, will you have the courage to walk it? This isn't just about business strategy or economic outcomes. This is about reclaiming our humanity in an age that too often reduces us to metrics, followers, and personal brands. This is about recognizing that the most revolutionary act in a hyper individualistic world might be to say, I am not alone. We rise together. I challenge you to identify one way, just one concrete action you can take this week to strengthen community bonds while advancing your goals. Perhaps it's mentoring someone from an underrepresented group. Maybe it's collaborating rather than competing with peers in your industry. It could be investing in a community owned business rather than a multinational corporation. Your action may seem small, but remember, Revolutions don't happen overnight. They begin with a single choice multiplied across thousands of lives until one day we look around and realize the world has transformed. The village renaissance isn't just coming, it's already here, waiting for you to join it. The only question is, will you be part of rebuilding the village, or will you remain trapped in the illusion of the self made individual? The choice is yours. The time is now. Let's rebuild our villages together. Thank you.